Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline and I am very pleased that you are listening and following my journey. So actually this is the first time that I went back on recording after taking a 2 weeks break from recording. I pre-recorded a couple videos beforehand, so I still had content to upload up until this week. I'm running out of content, so that's why I thought I would record. And also I don't have anything to do right now, and instead of taking a nap, which I don't want to take a nap anymore, or at least now, I thought I would record an episode. So today we're talking about how to build a capsule wardrobe and not basing your values on clothes and other materialistic things. So I'm going to be focusing more on the building my wardrobe and building the capsule wardrobe thing aspect, and then I'm going to maybe make another episode on how to not base your values on clothes and outerwear, accessories, jewelry, and not falling victim to this flexing culture that we have. And I thought this topic was very fitting for the new year because we're shopping, we're trying to improve, we all have goals to elevate our outfits and wardrobe and things like that. And from my experiences of trying to cater my own capsule wardrobe for the past, I think, 2 years, and going through the nitty-gritty, figuring out my body shape, figuring out my color palette, my undertones, figuring how to do makeup, figuring out what pieces of jewelry I like and I gravitate towards. I've gathered some tips and tricks, and also I'm going to be talking about my wish list at the end. There's some jewelry pieces, sunglasses, bags, and purses that I've been eyeing and I would like to add it to my wish list for the new year and the years to come, so stay tuned for that. But yes, let's get straight into the first point, which is check the labels, because depending on the type of vibe that you want for your wardrobe. So for me, I was going after the basic but not basic vibe, if that makes sense. I wouldn't call it old money, but I would call it basic and versatile. So because of that, I have been resonating more with the concept of the labels and checking to see the materials of the pieces that I want to purchase. So that means that I have been gravitating towards more cotton, natural fibers, and investing in high quality pieces. And speaking of investing, I want to make it clear that obviously every person's preferences when it comes to clothes are going to change. I am not a fast fashion type of gal. I used to follow the trends, and even though there's nothing wrong with that, I just feel like it doesn't fit me. And even though I sometimes want to spice things up, I want to be like a chameleon, kind of different colors, very colorful. But my true core, and I realized that most pieces that I gravitated towards were basic or neutral, black and white, just very, very, very core pieces. So depending on if you are going for the going for the more colorful, lively, lots of colors, lots of different styles, you do you. But for me, speaking from experiences, that style or that vibe has never been for me. So if those of you who are also wanting to build a wardrobe that is inspired by mine, like neutral, basic color, good pieces, then follow along. But if you're somebody who are into colors and different styles, then this video might not be for you. But going back to the materials, I have learned to check my labels after seeing this one videos of a YouTube content creator talking about how for the new year you should be investing in quality instead of quantity. And she's talking about helping me distinguish between different types of cottons and what type of cotton we should invest in. So I can link that video in the description, so if you're interested, just go check it out. but practice this habit of checking your labels to see where the material is from, if it's ethically produced, if it's sustainable, if it's suitable for the environment, things like that. So that's the first tip. The second point is you get what you pay for. And for me, I used to come a long way with, fashion concepts. Like I mentioned, in the beginning, I was somebody who was very, very after colorful, trendy pieces. So I would constantly upgrade my wardrobe, but not in a very cohesive way. So I would just buy the latest piece without thinking any much about it, and without thinking to myself, oh, how could I pair that piece with other pieces that are already in my closets. That's not something that I thought of. But now, going into buying pieces, I'm very conscious about which pieces I want to do, which pieces I want to get, and which pieces that I can pair with other pieces that I already have. That means that I am still working on my basics. So I purchased some good baby tees, some good t-shirts, some very, very basic jeans. I still want to find a good pair of low-waisted jeans, so that's gonna be on my radar. And then some denim skirts, some pleated skirts. I have a long, I think, maxi skirt already, and then a bunch of different dresses, but are all very neutral. And obviously, when you look at my wardrobe, you're not going to be seeing colors. You're not going to be seeing something that's exciting and different and unique. You're going to see a lot of neutrals and a lot of like black, white, grays, and some muted pastels colors, but not neon pink, neon green, not those types of colors. So for me, I've been fine with that. In the beginning, I was like, that's not interesting to me. But now I've learned the hard way that you don't have to be interesting all the time. You don't have to pick out pieces that are the brightest color for it to be interesting. You can make your clothes be interesting by other ways. For example, the form of the pieces can be interesting. So I'm very picky about the forms of the fabric, like I mentioned, but the form of the actual piece as well. So that's something that I could make my outfits become more interesting in. But I've seen a concept going around TikTok that if you cannot make your clothes be interesting through the colors, make it be interesting through the textures, make it be interesting through the different layers that you do. So there's different ways that you can layer or dress up, dress down your pieces to make your outfits more interesting. So it doesn't have to be the color that makes your clothes become unique and become something to talk about. So that's something that I learned. So now I gravitate towards good basics that can be layered together, and that pretty cohesive. So sets that can be taken apart and worn different ways, and pieces that can be worn together, and people might look at that and think they're set, but they're not. So those are the vibes that I'm going for. So invest in good basics is the second tip, but also find the right size for your body. People always talk about tailored clothes always elevate your outfit, and I know some people, they don't have the money and the time to go to the tailor and have your clothes kind of cater to your body types. So to avoid that from the beginning, pick out the sizes that will look good on you. And there's something that you should think about, is that you wear the clothes and not the other way around. So do not try to fit into the smallest size, things like that. Make sure that you read the size guide, and then contact the brand, ask questions if that's possible, read reviews and things like that. And I feel like for me nowadays, I don't purchase clothes from big brands anymore, like H&M, Zara, or those big brands. I gravitate towards local brands because I feel like their clothes are very basic but very interesting. So going back to the interesting part, their clothes are very basic, but the way that they design it and the way that the clothes kind of sit on your body, and the shape, the color, even though it's the same white, but it's in different shades of white, things like that. Those details can make that pieces very, very interesting. So if you want to be going down the route of basic but still cool and basic but still unique like me, go to the local brands. Especially in Vietnam, we have a lot of local brands, and I've been just discovering them, and I was like, wow. And also their prices are a bit cheaper than the big brands because you don't pay for the brand, things like that. So that's the second tip. The third tip, find out the shape or your body shape and what clothing pieces would work best according to your body shape. So one question that I used to have when I was, picking out clothes was that, how do I know if that piece would look great on me? And how do I know if, for example, the model wearing that t-shirt looks great wearing that t-shirt, but I don't know if I would look that cool and that slay while wearing that piece. So one solution that I had for this question was that figuring out your body shape. So I have an inverted triangle body shape, and obviously you're gonna be, if you're on TikTok, you're gonna see this circling around for a while. So an inverted triangle body type would be, you have wider shoulders than your hip, but you do have how do I say that, a pretty small waist, and then obviously if you have an hourglass figure, you're gonna have the same width in terms of your shoulders and your hips. And a pear body type would be having larger hips or wider hips compared to your shoulders. So there are different body types, and because of that, the same piece of clothing would look different on different body types. So for me, an inverted triangle body type, I found that a fitting a top and a loose kind of flowy pants look best on me, because I have a pretty wide shoulder already. So I don't want to choose tops that are pretty flowy or tops that are already loose, because that's going to emphasize the width of my shoulders. Instead, I'm going to choose tops that are fitting, and then to highlight my waist. But also I'm going to choose pants that are flowy and then kind of flaring out. Because of that's going to create an illusion that I have a wider hip than I actually do, and that's kind of balancing everything out and make my body appear to be an hourglass body type. If you already have a hourglass body type, everything looks great on you, but finding out the shape of your body is the first step. And then I think the next step is going to be finding out the proportion of your body. If you have a long neck or a short neck, if you have a long torso or a short torso, if you have long legs or short legs, things like that, because your body proportions also matter as well. So for me, I have a pretty short torso, so I don't want to wear high-waisted jeans anymore, because that's gonna shorten my torso even more. So right now I've been gravitating towards pieces of clothing that are especially pants that are low-waisted. So that means that those pieces sit pretty low on my hip, to kind of elongate my torso and balancing everything out with between my torso and my legs. And also that's going to reveal my waist area, and that's going to emphasize on my waist anymore, and drawing the attention down and not focusing it on my shoulder, if that makes sense. So a lot of factors can come into place to determine what pieces of clothing work best for you. But I would say finding out that your body shape, your color palette also matters as well, depending on your undertones. If you're a warm undertone, cool undertone, or neutral undertone. I am a neutral undertone, so I'm pretty easy with color, but I feel like muted color don't look great on me. I feel like for my undertones and my skin color, contrasting colors look pretty great on me. So like black, white, obviously, but deep red instead of muted red, and then bright pink instead of muted pink, if that makes sense. And I don't like gray on me, so my closet don't have a lot of gray pieces. So depending on your color, skin color, color palette, and your undertones, it's going to differ a lot in terms of the color of the pieces, but also the fit of the pieces and whether or not you should pick and choose tight-fitted tops, tight-fitted pants, or the other way around, things like that. So that's the third tip. The fourth tip is going to be a lot of figuring out your style comes down to trials and errors. So obviously you're not going to be able to get things right the first trial or the first attempt. Like I mentioned, I've been going at this mission for the past 2 years. So in the beginning, I was very much after trends and I didn't know what my body shape was. I was just like, either listening to my mom or seeing other people around me having that latest piece of clothing, and I was like, okay, I want that. But a lot of figuring out your style comes down to trials and errors. So don't be discouraged if the first couple of purchases don't look like how they're supposed to look on you or how you would imagine them to look on you. So, it's fine. You can return it. You can, then that's what I mean by investing in good basics, because find trustworthy brands, because those brands, most of the time, they're going to accept return policies. So you can return their pieces if you don't like it. And as you go along your journey of learning about your wardrobe and your body type, you're gonna figure out what type of clothing does not look great on you, and take every failures as a lesson and then kind of learn as you go. And that's what I realized. Okay, the last step or the last tip that I have is, now that you have kind of had an idea about what basics or what the foundation of your capsule wardrobe can look like, moving on to accessories. So I would not recommend starting out with accessories, because I feel like if you don't already know what type of clothing fits you, there's no way you're going to figure out what types of accessories that suit you. So accessory can include jewelry, sunglasses, belts, bags and purchases, shoes, things like that. But I feel like that should come after you have kind of narrowed down or you have an idea of what your closet or your wardrobe might look like. So I want to talk about some pieces that are on my wish list, and some of the things that I mentioned about clothes also apply to accessories. So invest in good pieces of jewelry, for example. For sunglasses, you don't have to buy the most expensive glasses. I don't feel like that's necessary. So once again, find local brands that are very unique in style, but the prices are on a more affordable style, things like that, belts. But I feel like certain accessory types should be bought from high quality brands. For example, jewelry. Obviously, you should buy high jewelry if you can. Bags and purses, they can be less on the quantity, but be very high quality pieces. So that means that buy from renowned brands or prestigious brands. I'm not saying designer brands. I'm saying about brands that value the quality of their products. And because I'm going with the kind of low-key vibes, I don't like my accessories to be showing their logos. That's not something for me. So I gravitate towards pieces of jewelry that are pretty low-key in the logo and the branding of the pieces. Same thing for bags and purses. So some pieces that are on my wish list in terms of jewelry would be, I have been dying to get the Van Cleef sweet hammered rose gold pendant. No, not the pendant, the bracelet first. I love the bracelet because I feel like for my style that I'm going after, dainty to jewelry and just jewelry that are thin and kind of not overpowering or looking chunky on my wrist is the way to go. That specific bracelet from Van Cleef is very dainty, it's very low-key. Even though you look and you can recognize that as a Van Cleef, not many people have it, because I feel like for Van Cleef, it's becoming something that's pretty much of a trend. with the 5 motif, with the classic vintage pendant and things like that. So even though I still want to buy from Van Cleef, I'm kind of hunting down pieces that are more on the low-key size that not many people have. So the rose gold hammered version, sweet style bracelet, something that I think it's going to be the first Van Cleef purchase of mine. And then going along with that, to complete the set, the necklace version of that. And obviously I like the guilloche version of the bracelet, the classic clover bracelet from Van Cleef, but I like the alternating 5 motif with the carnelian and the guilloche. So that's something I think looks very unique, and not many people have it. And because guilloche is solid gold, it's gonna be more on the more durable, and I could wear it on a daily basis, because most of the jewelry that I want to purchase is gonna be daily pieces of jewelry that are supposed to be worn, that's not gonna break from the second wear, things like that. So that's Van Cleef. And then in terms of watches, I have been my urge to buy the Cartier Bagnois, either the plain version, the classic version, or the pavé version. I really like the pavé version, but I don't know if I should go full diamond pavé or just pavé on the watch itself, the face of the watch itself. So that's something that I need to decide on. And then for sunglasses, like I mentioned, I'm not going to be buying from designer brands. I don't think that's necessary. So I found Desi Perkins sunglasses brand, and I feel like it's great. So I'm going to be buying from her brand. And for sunglasses, one thing about sunglasses is that I have yet to figure out what type of sunglasses fit my face shape. So I'm gonna be buying from brands that are on a more affordable size to test out which shape fits my face the most. And then I'm gonna be investing in a few good pairs of sunglasses. Bags and purses. So these are my weak spots. So for bags, I think the only bags I've been eyeing is the Bottega Andiamo. It's not the clutch version. It's the bag with I think it's the body strap. Because I'm intending for this bag to be a pretty daily piece as well. And then if not, other than that, I have been really loving the Loewe puzzle bags in the burgundy color. But for Loewe, I have yet to decide on this specific design and this specific style I want to purchase. So, those are bags and purses. But bags and purses, I don't think they're not high on my wish list. Higher up on my wish list would be my jewelry and the sunglasses. Belts, I feel like could be a good accessory to your outfits, but it's not something that I feel the urge to purchase right now. So I've been wanting to invest in jewelry, and I've found some brands, not Van Cleef, some low-key brands that are still pretty high quality, and I've been learning a lot about diamonds. So I would like to get a few tennis bracelets or a few pieces with lab-grown diamonds. I'm not against lab-grown diamonds. I feel like they're great, and especially when I'm just starting out on my jewelry mission, it's great that I started with something that's more on an affordable side. So I'm gonna go after some lab-grown diamond pieces, and then kind of going up the ladder, things like that. So those are some pieces that are on my wish list. Let me know what your thoughts and what other pieces that are also on your wish list. Thank you for listening to this episode. It's been great, talking about jewelry and just sharing my tips and tricks on how to build a wardrobe and how to build a capsule wardrobe that can be worn, for a long time. And if you have other tips and tricks, as always, let me know in the comments. And the next episode, I think, is going to be the second part of this topic, would be how to not base your values on clothes and other materialistic things. So stay tuned for that. And so thank you again for listening. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'm going to see you very soon with another episode. Until then, Bye bye.